In this segment of the Microsoft Word 2016 course, we will be completing this section where we have been learning about working with files. We have covered thus far opening files from the various locations where they may be stored. When we did Lesson 1, we noted that the Recent Documents pane on the left panel when we start Word and get the Open Document screen appears on the right panel when we access the Open option from the File tab. We also learned that we can open multiple files. When closing files, we learned that Word will prompt us to save our document if we haven't done so prior to closing, if we made modifications and did not save. In the Lesson 2 and 3 segments of this section of the course, we learned that we can create a document from scratch by selecting Blank Document from the Word Opening Document screen, but we didn't actually create a document from scratch. Instead, we created a document using an online template. We learned in detail how the Save feature works and how, under normal circumstances, it asks no questions and just saves the document in the current text area to its already designated location under its already designated name. We took note that the only exception to that is when we use the Save function with a newly created document in the text area, such as in the example we demonstrated when we saved our template entitled Document 1 and then saved Document 1 under the name Word Training Exercise 1. In this segment, we will finish out this section of the course, creating, saving, and working with files, by going over the Save As function and learning the difference between the Save As function and the Save function, when we should use the Save As function instead of just the Save function, and the options available to us for saving in different file formats or file types when we go to use the Save As function. Finally, when we've completed covering the Save As function, I will go over with you how Word allows you to recover documents that may not have been saved because of unexpected program issues such as abnormal ending, hangs, crashes, power failure, or anything that might result in the document in the text area not being exited properly or the Word program not closing normally as it should. You should already be familiar with starting the Word 2016 program. So, let's start Word by clicking the Word 2016 icon. As you know, when we start Word, we get the Word document opening screen, allowing us to open an existing document or create a new document. We know that we can create a perfectly formatted document based on pre-existing templates built into the Word 2016 program, or access a diverse set of templates from online of almost any type from which we can create new documents. By clicking the blank document icon on the New Document panel, the gray panel on the right, if you recall from the first time we entered into the Word environment, we get a blank document in the text area where we can create, edit, view, and print from scratch. Right now, I want you to see how we can access this Create Document panel you see here on the right from the File tab, once we are already in Word inside the document editing environment. So, we will click on Blank Document, and as we click the icon, we are taken into the Word document editing environment with a blank document in the text area entitled Document 1, as you can see in the title bar area here above. You already know that Word entitles newly created documents which haven't been saved, Document 1. Now, we're going to go to the File tab and see how, when we select the new option from the File tab, we get the same right panel we got on the Word document opening screen, which will allow us to create a new document from blank or from pre-existing template, just the same as when we first start the Word program. Click the File tab, and we see the Backstage view. Now let's click the New option, and take a look to the right. You see that we now have the same search template and create options on this panel we had when we started Word. You already have a blank document open in the text area currently, and now I am going to demonstrate the creation of another document from template. A document, let's say, which I don't know what category the template might be found in online. Or let's say a document I don't want to go manually searching to find a template that is suitable. I want to create a new document for a credit card dispute I want to make with my credit card company regarding a purchase which appears on my latest statement that is erroneous. Now I'm not sure, let's say, where the template can be found, or I want to find a quick and easy way to locate it. Let's type credit card dispute in the search bar here at the top of the right panel where you see search for online templates and the magnifying glass, and press enter or click the magnifying glass as I'm doing here. We see that Word searches thousands of online templates to locate templates that match the terms we used in the search bar. And as Word completes the search, we can see that it has found several templates which match the search terms we used in the search bar. You should recall when we created documents from template in the former lesson that we can view the documents in the right panel on the left pane by clicking on one of them. And as you see I'm doing here, scroll through the templates of the type we searched for, and Word has found that meet our search criteria. Also, you should note all the way to the right, on the right panel, is a pane where there are categories listed. These are the category names where documents of the type we search for have been found. And next to each category, we see how many documents meeting our search criteria match each category. You see that one of the matching templates for our search criteria listed is a letter disputing credit card charge template. Let's click on this letter disputing credit card charge template, and as we click, we can see the download file size, a preview of the document, and a brief description of its contents and general use. Let's create a new document based on this template by clicking Create. So we click Create, and when we click Create, we see that we have a second document opened. And if we look up at the top in the title bar area, we can see that the new document has been entitled by Word Document 2. So right now, I want you to note that as we create multiple new documents in Word in the same session and have not saved them, Word will continue to temporarily name them by number, Document 1, Document 2, Document 3, etc. And when we go to save the documents, using the Save icon or the Save As function more appropriately, we get, as you saw in the previous lesson, and as you will now see, a browse window allowing you to tell Word where you want your document to be stored on the computer, its permanent location. And, as you will see as we proceed, we have options with the Save As function to save our document in different formats, most often in a format other than Word's current, what we call DocX format, for compatibility or portability of the document created in Word with other programs or environments. To demonstrate this, let's go to the File tab now and save our document using the Browse option to instruct Word to save our Document 1 in the text area and the Documents library on our computer, where we will create a folder called Word Training Exercises. We will entitle our document once we have created the new folder in the Documents library and navigated the Browse window to that new folder. We will entitle our new document, when we save it, Word Training Exercise 2. So, from the File tab, in the Save As menu function, we select the Browse option by clicking on the folder icon. Immediately, we get a Browse window, displaying the last location browsed and the file contents at that location. Some of you may already be familiar with using the Browse window to explore the computer and navigate to specific locations. On the other hand, some of you may not. So at this point, I'm going to take a moment and demonstrate navigating to a certain location on the computer using the Browse window. If you look on the left pane of the Browse window, you see, as you will always see, a list of primary locations and sub-level locations beneath it, such as you see here. As I scroll down, you see here, where my pointer is currently, it's pointing to Computer, and under Computer, you see a sub-level location indicating that on this computer there is a local disk called C, or the C drive. Some computers have several local drives, and you may see a list here. For instance, you may see the letters E, F, and G in this location under Computer. And in the case where you have connected a USB drive to the computer, it will be listed here under Computer as well. So, Computer as a primary location lists all storage devices on the computer which can be navigated to. Let's scroll down and look below Computer, and here you see the primary location, Network. And this indicates the locations available to be navigated to on the local area network that this computer might be attached to. And if you look below, here you see that there are several items listed as sublocations listed under Network that this computer is attached to. And each of these are computers attached to this network that this computer is attached to. Scroll up, and you'll see that listed are Windows Basic Default Libraries created on the computer's hard drive for organizing documents, music, videos, pictures, etc. In order to point to or navigate to a specific location, you select it by clicking on the location you desire to point to. And once you have done that, you will see a list of the files or sublocations or directories, meaning folders, stored at that sublocation, as I will demonstrate. Watch as I click on the local drive C. Here on the left pane of the browse window, and immediately to the right, you see when I click on local drive C, I get a list of items on the right pane, listing all of the locations where files exist or stored. Listed are their file type and last date modified. Here you see that these are all folder type items. Let's scroll and move the pointer to the user item or folder and double click there. As you see, as we double click on user, which you must do to open an item in the right pane of the browse window, we go deeper into the computer's file structure on the C drive, user folder, where we see the folders for the users of the computer. Here on this computer, you can see that there is only one user and a public folder. If there were other users or maybe a guest login for this computer, there would also be a folder for them listed here. Let's go into my folder by double-clicking on the item Reginald. When we get into my user folder, you can see a list of subfolders as well as files which have been stored by me on this computer. If we look at the top here, where you see the pointer now, you can see indicated the path we have taken to get to this navigation point or storage location within the computer. You can see the path we navigated to is Computer, then local disk C, then User, then Reginald. Now, if we were to name our unsaved document now and click Save, it would be saved here in this folder. However, we don't want to save it here. We want to save it in the library folder under Documents. So it's more or less easy to find. So let's navigate to the library folder under Documents. And before we click Save, we will see how we can create a subfolder in the Save As browse window while we are in the Documents library. We create this new subfolder by navigating to the Documents folder in the computer's library. So let's look to the left pane where we navigate to the primary storage location we want our document to be located. Now, I want you to take note at this point and look closely at the library location, here where the pointer is, and notice the arrowhead pointing downward that is displayed just to the left of the word library, as it is highlighted. Notice its downward pointing direction. I'm going to click on this arrowhead right now. Notice, as I click on the downward pointing arrowhead, it changes into an arrowhead pointing to the right, and that the sublocations under libraries are no longer displayed. The listing of the locations have been collapsed. In order to see the subfolders at this location again, we expand the listing of libraries by clicking again on the arrowhead, as I'm doing here. And you see, the arrowhead now points downward again, and the list of subfolder locations is listed again. You can always list the subfolders of a location listed here on this left pane in the browse window by clicking the arrowhead adjacent to that location to expand it, or vice versa, to collapse it. So, I'll just expand the library's listing and then click on Documents. And as you can see in the address bar above here, where my pointer is, I've navigated the browse window to the location Libraries, then Documents. Now, look just below the address bar where it indicates where we have navigated to. And take note, this address bar indicates where our document will be saved when we click the Save button below in this browse window. We want to save our document in the library's document folder, but we want to be sure we save our document in a new folder of its own just for our word exercise, which means we have to create a new folder at this location we have navigated to in the document folder of our library. So, take note here, as I've said, just below the address bar where my pointer is, and you see an option in the browse window which indicates New Folder. This is our option to create a new folder in the currently navigated location by clicking on New Folder. Let's click now on New Folder as I'm doing. And when I click New Folder, you see that you get a new folder item in the list of items in the right panel with the name New Folder highlighted. While this is highlighted, we can type the name we want to give our new folder. So, as I'm typing here, let's name this folder Word Exercises by typing Word Exercises in the place of New Folder and pressing Enter. You see, as we have pressed Enter, we have created a new folder called Word Exercises. But just a second. I want this folder to be called, instead of Word Exercises, I want this folder to be called Word 2016 Training Exercises. So why did I demonstrate how to change the name of a folder? You do this very simply by clicking on the item you want to change the name of. It is highlighted. It has been selected. Then pause a second or so while the item is highlighted and click it again. As you see, just the name is now highlighted, as when we first clicked New Folder and created the new folder item. We can now change the name of the item as we wish. Let's type in the name we really want instead of Word Exercises. Let's type in Word 2016 Training Exercises. And now, as you can see, our new folder has been renamed to Word 2016 Training Exercises. Now, before we save our document, take note by looking at the address bar in the browse window, here above, where my pointer is. We have not yet navigated into the new folder we have created. So let's do that now. Let's navigate into the new folder we just created and save our document permanently to the new folder location. We navigate into a folder in the right pane of the browse window as we did with our user folder earlier by double-clicking on it. So let's double-click on the folder we just created, Word 2016 Training Exercises. And looking at the browse address bar above, we can see that we are now pointing to the location we want to save our document. We are pointing to the library in the Documents folder to a folder called Word 2016 Training Exercises, as the address bar here indicates. So we are ready to save our document by typing the name we wish to give it in the File Name area near the bottom of the browse window where it says File Name, as we did in Lesson 1. So, I click in the File Name box. The file name is highlighted, and as you can see by default, Save As gives it a preliminary default name of the first words or characters which appear in the document. Let's type in, at this point, the name we want it to have, instead of what Word has defaulted. Let's type in Word Training Exercise 2, as I'm doing here, and click the Save button to return to our document editing screen. Now, we are back in the Word document editing environment with our document still in the text area. Our document has been permanently saved to the location we desired, a folder we especially set up just for Word 2016 Training Exercises. and it has the name as we can see in the title bar above, here at the top, Word Training Exercise 2. Okay. You now know how to use the Save As function to save your documents in specific locations by navigating to them using the browse window we get when we use Save As. You know how to rename folders as well as files from a browse window by clicking on the item listed in the right pane, pausing, and then typing in the new name you wish to give the item when the old name is highlighted, and pressing Enter. You learned that Word will continue to temporarily number new documents created and not yet saved in the same session, naming them Document 1, Document 2, Document 3, etc. And that by default, when we go to save a new document, it will have the first characters that appear in the document preliminarily as its file name to be saved as when we use Browse. You learned that the opening document screen we get when we start Word and are able to create a blank document or a new document based on a template is also available just the same from the File tab on the ribbon when we select the New option. We will be learning more about the Save As function in the next segment of the course and how easy it is to use to save our documents in a variety of document formats or document types that Word 2016 supports. Continue on with us in the next lesson. This concludes this segment.